This webtoon series is a straight 10. I just finished Windbreaker, and the premise of this comic is about bike riding. I don't think a lot of people can relate to the sport, but I think everyone can pick up this series and enjoy it. Windbreaker was never about cycling, but the friends we make along the journey. And I swear, most of the time, they aren't even riding bikes. The entire plot of Windbreaker is a massive bike competition with a bunch of different teams. The grand prize for first place is 100 million won, and the crew we follow is the Hummingbird Crew. But how did the Hummingbird Crew come together? These individuals who had nothing to do with each other but come together through the love of bike riding. Well, let me go through the 3 most prominent Hummingbird characters in the series, and let me tell you how Windbreaker made me cry. So we all know that J-Joe cut that was really popular a few years ago. Well, J-Joe is actually the main character of Windbreaker, and he is super cool. But actually, taking that cool chiseled jawline, that nice hair, stripping it all away, he's actually just this antisocial nerd that studies all day. That's our main character, a guy who does not talk at all, and his sheer presence exudes an aura of slight edginess. But he never intends to be intense. Jay loves all the friends he makes on the Hummingbird Crew, but his main problem is his relationship with his mom. And I think this is really relatable for a lot of us because a lot of moms or parents out there constantly nag their children to study all day to get into a good university, which isn't bad advice, but it can get quite intense depending on the household. And all Jay does is study. He's a top student in his high school, but all he wants to do is ride his bike. In the very first chapter, we see symbolism in his bike being his freedom, and his haunting thoughts about his parents nagging him to study. But Jay doesn't want this. He wants his freedom, he wants to hang out with friends, and he wants to ride his bike. This bike is very important to Jay because his late uncle passed it down to him before he died. For Jay though, it's not just the biking he loves, but he loves the friends he's around. Now Jay's quite antisocial, that's his personality. He's always seen sitting alone or just studying alone. But I think a great moment in Windbreaker that really showed Jay's character was during his birthday party. So he was kind of antisocial in the birthday party, everyone was celebrating, he was just sitting down. But when they gave him a gift, they all chipped in some money to get him a helmet, and every person had a sticker that resembled themselves and they put it on the helmet. And Jay, for the next few days, literally wore the helmet everywhere he went. He went to school in this helmet, and it meant everything to him. Cute Jay moments aside, most of his tragedies do come from his mom. She's very against Jay's biking, and especially when he joins the tournament, she literally does everything to get him to stop, and one thing she does is actually throw his bike away, his most prized possession. Now this bike isn't just a bike to Jay, this is literally everything to him, and when he saw his bike at the dump being absolutely destroyed, his face made me almost cry. And look at the Webtoon comments, they were absolutely livid. They hate his mom so much, I think the entire fandom does. So the second character I want to talk about is Minu. Minu is Jay's best friend, and Minu is the most tragic character I have read. I have probably been the most emotional reading this guy's arc. In fact, I actually teared up, and I haven't cried for fictional shows or manga or anything in years. Minu is first introduced as Jay's classmate who is popular, rich, and low-key a jerk. Kind of like a foil to Jay's quietness, Minu is very extroverted and very popular with everyone. And you could say the whole reason the Hummingbird Crew was started was because of Minu. Of course, he had his own selfish reasons as to why he wanted to start his crew because his old crew betrayed him and he wanted to create a new one to destroy them. He sought out Jay after seeing his talent on the road. It was also his idea to join the League of Street tournament, no particular reason, just because he loves biking. And he's kind of like Jay in that aspect where his family life is not that good, but he kind of escapes from it through the love of biking. Jay was convinced because he wanted to know the secrets of his uncle's death, and the League of Street has some information on that, so both of them joined the League of Street with the Hummingbird Crew and a lot of other friends they made along the way. Now I really enjoyed Minu's character. I think he was one of my favorites, if not my favorite one. He just had that charisma in him that Jay needed in his life, so when they hung out it was so funny because Minu was just yapping the whole time. Jay acted like he didn't like Minu, but on the inside, Jay really liked Minu's company. And his family life at home was so bad that he decided to run away from home because him and his dad kept fighting. So he kind of forces himself to move in with Jay. It's kind of funny. And for the first part of this webtoon series, they're just living together in Jay's house. Now Minu goes through a lot in this webtoon series. He has family problems and he has an inferiority complex towards Jay. He's jealous of Jay not only because of his sheer talent, but because the girl he likes also has a crush on Jay, Mia. And talking about Mia, her relationship with Minu is super wholesome and really cute. Whenever Mia was going through a hard time, Minu was always there. Even though he had his own issues, he was there to bring everyone up with him. He was kind of the light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of characters. For Jay, Jay, for Mia, he even helped another character, Vinnie Hong, at times, and everything seems to go really well until tragedy hits. Minu's tragedy hit me hard. At the end of part 2, Minu got hit by a car extremely hard in order to save Jay because some people were targeting him. Rereading this even gave me goosebumps because at this point Minu's life was at an all-time high. He recently got a girlfriend, Mia, finally after like 200 chapters. As well as that, he tied out a lot of family issues and he pretty much had all his relationships set. He had a lot of friends, he had the Hummingbird Crew, everything was going super well for Minu. But this incident pretty much shook every single character to their core. Jay went absent, the Hummingbird Crew almost disbanded, and I was in tears. Minu gets crippled potentially for a lifetime and he goes into this big depressive spiral. This guy who used to be a really positive person, bringing everyone up with him, became a super depressed guy. He lashes out at everyone, all his friends, the Hummingbird Crew, his girlfriend, his sister. He kind of just doesn't want to live anymore because his love of biking is just taken away from him, and this is a lot of athletes' worst nightmare because their sport means everything to them. And it's very easy to go down that train of thought of having no hope to live. It was hard to see Minu because we saw him grow so much as a character before this even happened, and it really hit me by this time. I'm not going to spoil it anymore, but I will say his path to recovery was an amazing arc to read. And the moment he realizes that he has all his friends and that he has a will to live, it was truly beautiful. Talking about tragedy, we have Vinnie, the third character. His whole life is tragic. Minu was a slow burn downhill, but Vinnie started out at a really tough point. Vinnie also started off as a villain, a senseless high school thug who beat up everyone who rubbed him the wrong way. But we later see why he is the way he is and the golden heart he actually has. So I'm not going to go too in depth in Vinnie's story. I think it's very interesting to read it firsthand, especially because they delve into Vinnie a lot later in the series. But I will say he has one of the best relationships with Yumi. It's very cute and they're very different, but they get along very well. It's kind of like Vinnie has this golden heart and he just loves people, but it's really hard for him to express it at times. Talking about relationships and ships, that's another thing I really enjoy about Windbreaker is they don't shy away from romance. A lot of the characters have ships between each other and even kind of form love triangles. An example is the love triangle between Jay, Mia, and Minu. That was a pretty intense love triangle. I had no idea what was going on, but I genuinely enjoyed reading all their screen time. Other people have different ships, but they're more funny and comedic. So it's very, very interesting to read all that. Of course, we can't forget the biggest ship, which is Minu and Jay. Their relationship was rocky at times, but everyone in this whole series had a rocky relationship with one another at one point. And that's what I love about this series. It's not about bike riding, it's not necessarily about cycling, but rather it's about the friends you make and the dreams and goals that you have. Whether it be freedom, whether it be to be number one, or whether it be love. Whatever it is, Windbreaker teaches us a lot about life, and you should definitely go pick it up right now. I couldn't cover everything because it is over 400 chapters, and it is a very long series that will keep you occupied for a very long time, but it definitely is VMAT approved. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe to Webtoon for more videos like this, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace, guys.